Good evening, everyone, or good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. How's everyone is doing during this pandemic? Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. I'm Dr. Yaolin Tan. I would like to thank you all for joining today's webinar. I also want to thank GC America for sponsoring this webinar. Today, we are going to talk about when composite met ceramic. First, here's a little bit about me. I grew up in Taiwan, also known as Formosa, where I got my first dental degree from Taipei Medical University. Then I came to San Francisco and graduated from University of Pacific in 1994. I have been practicing dentistry in San Francisco Bay Area since 1995. I'm a Peterson and Serona certified CERA trainer. I am also a CERADoctors.com visiting faculty. This photo was taken at my dental school, Taipei Medical University. We did a one-day lecture with my buddy, Dr. David Tai, the one in the middle, and Mr. Eddie Corrales at catsmiles.com. Golden Gate Bridge is the most iconic site of San Francisco. But we also have the Bay Bridge that connects between San Francisco and Oakland. The evolution of CEREC. The technology of CEREC has been available for more than 30 years. And I started my CERA journey since 2005 with a red cam and have been placed a few thousand of CERA restorations. The CERA Prime Scan and the CERA Prime Mill are the most current models and probably are the best single visit CAD/CAM system that you can buy today. Back then, we had very limited block option available to us as CERA users. We had 3M Paradigm, Vita Mark II, Iberclaw Pro CAD, and Iberclaw Empress CAD. The strength of the block was all in 100 to 200 megapascal range. We have so many block options available to us in 2020. We can basically categorize them into 4 different groups. First is static ceramic block, like the old Vita Mark II, Iberclaw Empress, and the new GC initial LRF. LRF stands for Lucite Reinforced Feldspathic. The strength of this group is ranging from 100 to 200 megapascal. Second group is the lithium-based block. The most well-known and iconic member of this group is the Iberclaw Emax. And there are new members of this group like Strom & Nice, Hess Bio Amber Mill, and also the GC DC block. The Emax does require oven processing time, since it is in pre-crystallized purple stage. But the Strom & Nice and the new GC DC block are fully crystallized, so no oven time needed. The strength of this group is ranging from 300 to 500 megapascal. Third group is the resin block. We have 3M Lava Ultimate, Vocal, Grandial, and GC CERA Smart. The strength is ranging from 100 to 300 MPa. The last group is the zirconia block, like Incoris and the Katana block. The strengths of this group range from 1,000 to 600 MPa. Keep in mind, generally speaking, the strengths drop when the block is more acidic or more translucent. The Katana STML. STML stands for Super Translucent Multi-Layer. The STML strength dropped to 600 to 700 megapascal from 1,000. Since we have so many options available to us, sometimes more is not always better. We get confused easily since we have so many options. When we get confused, we tend to choose the most eye-catching one and ignore the rest. For many of us, the most eye-catching one is the one with the strongest strength, the zirconia. This is based on the Glidewell lab. In 2015, there was more than 9 million braziers prescribed, which is many times more than the PFM. This is one of the anterior crown I did back in 2006. The crown was done with Vita Mark II. Back in the old day, it was much easier choosing a block, since we only had 3 to 4 different options. But we still have a very high successful rate without having the megapascal. The morphology and the shape is not perfect at all, and my bonding technique was not even good back then. But this Mark II has survived 14 years and still in a very acceptable conditions. This is a longevity study of the CEREC from the University of Michigan. The test was done more than 10 years ago, while we only had very limited block options. Based on this study, even the 3M paradigm, which is a composite block, has 97% successful rate over 5 years. And if 5 years is not long enough, both Mark II and Paradigms has 92.5% success rate over 10 years. This is pretty good long-term success rate. This is one of my patients. She fell and broke her front anterior. The implant was placed, and I temporarily restored this implant with Vita Dynamic a few years ago, while waiting for the implant to integrate. But after the implant was temporized and before the final, she fell again on her face. The abutment and the crown were fractured due to the accident. If this implant was restored with the cornea, would the accident result in a more catastrophic failure, such as screw fracture, or even worse, fracture of the implant fixture? When fracture happens, like my patients, would you rather have the fracture happen at the crown level, abutment, screw, implant fracture, or at the bone level? If this implant was restored with the cornea, would the accident result in a more catastrophic failure? Maybe someday in the future, if we could all be X-Men, then we would not have to worry about fracture of any parts of our body, including our teeth and jawbone. Less is more only when more is too much. Hybrid. What is hybrid? Thin made by combining 2 different elements. A mixture, just like a hybrid car. The well-known Toyota Prius, it's a car that combines gas and an electric engine. In dentistry, we have hybrid too. We have been using composite and ceramic for a long time. What will happen if we can combine both together, especially in CAD/CAM dentistry? We first have the 3M Lava Ultimate in around 2012 as our first hybrid options. Then we have the Vita Dynamic and the GC Serra Smart. This new hybrid group has opened a new door to us as chairside CAD/CAM user. Since this hybrid offers the best of both worlds, ceramic and composite. So why choose hybrid block over others? Here are the advantages of hybrid. It mills quicker, average about 10 minutes for a single molar crown. It is more gentle on the milling burr, which means you will get more mills from each milling burr. It mills smoother, so you won't get chippy margin like Emax. Hybrid blocks don't need oven processing, not like Emax or zirconia. That can save significant amounts of oven time and also no cooling time. It can be repaired in the mouth, and also proximal contact can be added easily without remill. Hybrid can be easily polished in minutes. It's more biomimetic and less abrasive to the opposing dentition. Easy to be polished. Speaking of biomimetic, the principle of biomimetic dentistry is respecting Mother Nature's creations, respecting and emulating the nature with the material we have. Being able to restore the tooth by removing the diseased tissue only, which is caries, but without removing any intact, healthy tissue. So I have just been talking about all the positive of hybrid blocks. But are all hybrid blocks trustable, reliable enough for us to use in our daily practice? On June 2015, about 3 years after Lava Ultimate hit the market, 3M announced a change in indication by removing the crown indications due to the higher debond rate. Does that mean we can only use the hybrid block for inlay, onlay, and cannot use hybrid for full coverage crown? Not all hybrids are the same, even though they all fall in the hybrid category. They all have different physical property, even though with different fracture strengths and modulus of resilience. More importantly is how you pre-treat your bonding surface, and if you are cementing or bonding your restorations. I think the debond for the lava on the crown may caused by, first, inadequate pretreatment of the restorations before bonding, such as no sandblasting, no silane. And second, inadequate adhesive bonding procedure by skipping the etching and bonding. And third, maybe some of the debond lava was only cemented instead of fully bonded. Generally speaking, the hybrid are more flexible than the Emax and glass ceramic. So while in function, the vertical low on the margin of the crown may flex more with a hybrid, and therefore the crown may debond more easily. So following the appropriate bonding procedure, in my opinion, is very important when using the hybrid material. Here is one study from the Journal of Prosthetic Dentistry showing the importance of the surface treatment and the resin cement to the hybrid material. The conclusion of the study indicating the surface treatment and the resin cement type affect the bond strength, and the dual pure composite cement provide higher bond strength for the air abraded hybrid block. Now I want to introduce you one of my most used favorite hybrid block, GC Cera Smart. Thanks to GC's superior nanotechnology, the Cera Smart has higher strength and is very aesthetic. Cera Smart has high fracture strength at 238 to Emax 356 and has highest breaking energy compared to Inamic and Lava Ultimate. This study showed that Cera Smart has the highest modulus of resilience at 3.05 compared to 3M Lava Ultimate at 1.47. What is modulus of resilience? The modulus of resilience is defined as the maximum energy that can be absorbed without creating a permanent distortions. That shows more megapascal needed to create permanent distortion to Cera Smart than the Lava Ultimate. After many years of success from the original Cera Smart, we now have the brand new Cera Smart 270. GC has developed the FSC, the full silane coating technology, that is able to increase the stronger bonding between the filler and matrix. Therefore, the Cera Smart has even higher biaxial strength at 270 megapascal than the popular original Cera Smart around 220 megapascal, and of course higher than other hybrid block on the market. Even the new 270 has higher megapascal. You may want to remember this one, since you will need this later. The new 270 has same milling program, same milling time, and same burr life as the original Cera Smart. Cera Smart mill faster than Emax and is similar to Vita Inamic. It will only take 7 minutes under fast mill to mill a crown. Cera Smart is the only hybrid material that can be etched with hydrofluoric acid or can be sandblasted with 25 to 50 micron alumina. Then steam clean or ultrasonic clean with alcohol. Then apply silane to intaglio surface with GC ceramic primer tube. And air dry, then your restoration is ready for bonding. I personally prefer to sandblast all of my Cera Smart instead of using hydrofluoric acid to get optimal bonding strength. So when can we use Cera Smart? What is its indications? We all know that Serasmart is perfect for inlay and onlay. One of my first Serasmart 270 case, it was an onlay and was polished only, no color or glaze added, and was done in March 2019. This patient came back to me just one day before the COVID-19 pandemic, shelter in place order in Bay Area. And I took a 1-year post-op recall photo for this Serasmart 270. As you can see, the 270 is holding up pretty well after 1 year service. Another case showing inlay on lower right second molar. This second molar had a very deep root subgingival cavities due to the impacted third molar. The impaction was extracted a couple weeks before I restored this tooth. Serasmart has very good radial opacity. Besides using Serasmart for inlay and onlay, I know many of us will be hesitant to use Serasmart for full coverage crown. I want to show you some cases for the full coverage crown for both anterior and also the posterior. Lower incisors tooth number 25 or number 41. For many of you outside the US, this tooth was root canal treated with discolorations. Patient wanted to improve the aesthetic. I minimally prepped the facial since the tooth was already backwardly positioned. I knew I would have the minimum thickness issue, so I decided to use Serasmart in order to be able to be on the conservative side. As you can see at the cervical, it was only 0.2 millimeter thick. I don't think I can get away with something this thin if I use Emax. I know I'm pushing the limit. Based on GC, the minimum occlusal thickness is at 1.5 millimeters, and minimum wall thickness is at 1 millimeters. Here is the after. Patient was extremely happy with the final result. I want to give you a little story about this patient. The patient originally came from Bulgaria. In May 2018, about a little over 2 years ago, patient came in for recall and we discussed about implant for the missing teeth area. Panel was taken and you can see the Serasmart on the tooth number 25. Patient told me that he wanted to get his implant done in his country due to the cost. And he came back to me in September 2018. All excited and wanted me to check the implant that was done in his country. I was actually pretty shocked to see this after I took a CBCT. Here is a panel view from the CBCT. I just did not know how the doctor going to be able to restore the implant that he placed. And here is the X-ray showing the final restorations. He told me the cost of all 6 implants was cheaper than getting just one done here in the US. A crown layer on lower first molar with a new 270 block. The opacity of the block is very good. The radial opacity is very good. Here is another example of the anterior crown. Patient fell and hit his front teeth. All 3 front teeth were fractured. 1 veneer and 2 crown prep. The one advantage of using CERA Smart in the aesthetic zone is the ability to do intraoral color and stain and glaze. And you can even bond your restoration in first, then do the characterizations after bonding in. Here's the final. And this was done with a LT block. Due to the thickness of the crown, if I use the HT, they would be ended up too bluish, too low in volume. Before and after. Hybrid blocks are very good for long-term temporary implants and also for full mouth cases. This is a very special patient. She is my assistant's mom, and my assistant is a dentist from Nicaragua. She suffered from pain on tooth number 9, even after root canal treatment was performed. I referred her to my endodontist. Perforation was diagnosed, and extraction was recommended. The pre-op CBCT showing very thin buccal plate. I decided to use a Bennett extractor to remove the tooth automatically. Socket graft was performed. After 6 to 7 months healing, CBCT was taken again and guided implant surgery was planned by using a blue sky plan. Surgical guide was printed with Form 2 printer. Straumann 3.3 bone level implant was placed, and temporary bridge with Orvet punctate was delivered at the day of surgery. The Orvet punctate was designed to keep pressure on the surgical side in order to maintain the gingival papilla, as you can see on the photo. This CERA Smart temporary bridge was colored and glazed and was cemented with Ivoclar TDOCS temporary cement. Six weeks after the implant surgery, the implant fixture was scanned with an Atlantis IO flow scan post for making the custom abutment. Here are the photos showing the gold hue Atlantis abutment and the insertion jig. Here is a before and after. Thanks to the long-term CERA Smart temporary, so we can still keep the gingival papilla nicely. See this nice emergence profile of the Atlantis custom abutment. This is a narrow imprint fixture at 3.3. My emergence would look pretty bad if I use a tight base instead of the nicely designed custom abutment. Speaking of the emergence profile, based on the book Zero Bone Loss Concept, there is some evidence showing that the angle of the restoration's emergence profile should not exceed 25 degrees to avoid bone loss. And the thickness of the soft tissue also play a very important role regarding implant bone loss. The thickness of the soft tissue need to be at least 3 millimeters to maintain the biological width around the implant. Hybrid material is perfect for non-prep veneer, since again it can be milled ultra thin. This young lady wanted to have her teeth fixed quick before her wedding. I did not want to aggressively cut down her teeth, so I decided to make her 2 non-prep veneers on lateral and 2 composite on central. This is a before photo, but also is a prep photo, since this is a non-prep case. In-house wax-up model and the index. Rubber dam placed with dental floss before the final cementation. As you can see, both composite on the 2 central was done by using a silicone. Final restoration was cemented with worn composite. Here is the after. Before and after. Another great advantage of using hybrid is that we can be more conservative and less invasive while preparing the teeth. Deep root cavity on lateral incisors. After cavity was removed, composite filling was done before the final crown prep, and the final crown prep margin was on the composite to avoid aggressive preparations. This technique called margin elevation technique. Sarah Smart was cemented with worn composite, so it is all composite interface. If I was leaving my margin on the dentine cemented instead of the composite that I fill, these tools would end up with nothing left, or root canal and pulse will be needed. Here is one example to show that intraoral repair is possible and easy to do. Tooth was originally restored with Serasma only, but root canal was needed after restorations. I sent the patient to an endodontist to get the root canal done. After discussion with the patient, we decided to repair it instead of doing a new one after the root canal treatment done. It was repaired intraorally. I first filled with GC Genial Universal Flowable. Then on top layer with a GC Genial Composite. GC actually recommend to use GC Genial Universal Flow when repair Cerasmart, since they both contain same flexible narrow ceramic. GC Universal Flow Composite is a very unique composite. It is a flowable composite, but strong enough for all classes restorations. Here is the after photo. An X-ray after. Here's a photo and X-ray showing the repair. In 2015, Patient presented with a fractured composite fittings. Sarah Smart onlay was done, polish only. This photo was taken this year at 5 years recall. As you can see, the polished Sarah Smart holding up quite well at 5 years. I told my patient that I want to give this 5 years old only a little spa treatment. Since I just received a new polishing paste from Shine for testing. It's called Lucida Composite Polishing System. It's a product from Shine USA and Style Italiano. It is a polishing paste with their special design star-shaped polishing wheel. And within a minute, I had gave this Sarah Smart a new life. Another example of polishing Sarah Smart without color glaze. Fracture upper lip incisors. Here's a prep for veneers. The morphology was done before polishing. Shine Style Italiano Lucida paste. And then here's the final. So now we know the success of restoration does not just depend on the strength of the material, but also depend on how you bond the restorations, how you prepare the bonding surface, both on the preparation tool surface and your restoration intaglio surface. Many of you heard about or know about IDS. But what is IDS? Immediate dentin sealing technique, and how to perform IDS technique properly. IDS technique has been published in several papers and has many different names. As early as 1997, this technique was called dual bonding technique. In 2005, Dr. Pascal Manet gave the name as immediate dentin bonding technique, IDS. And the IDS probably is the most well-known name for this technique. If you want to maximize your bonding strength, IDS does has the advantage. When doing immediate dentin sealing, you get a much stronger bonding strength and less post-op sensitivity. Here is a procedure how to do IDS. Rubber dam isolations. You can also cover the neighbor teeth with Teflon tape. Total SH 15 seconds on the prep. Then water rinse off. Negative pressure dry. Do not over dry the prep with air. Do not use air water syringe to dry the prep. What is negative pressure? Negative pressure is by using your high power suction, HVE suction, on the prep tooth. We are doing moist bonding. How wet is wet? Moist bonding is a key to get great bonding strength. Water is an excellent wetting agent. Over drying the prep tend to get weaker bonding and also get higher chance of post-op sensitivity. Here's a good example of how wet is wet. Not the ocean wet, but not the dry sand dry. Apply Optibond FL primer, bottle number 1 for 20 seconds. And then negative pressure dry. Again, use HVE. Do not air syringe dry. Apply adhesive. Optibond FL bottle number 2. Thick layer. Fully cure. Then apply glycerin and cure again to remove the air inhibit layers. When you are ready to cement your restorations, the prep that has been IDS, the bonding surface need to be reactive by intraoral sandblasting. I use Kojak from Kerr. And after sandblasting, phosphoric SH, then apply OptiBond FL adhesive bottle number 2 and don't cure before cementation. On the restorations before the cementation and after applying the silane, apply a layer of adhesive OptiBond FL number 2. Put it under a light protection cover. Do not light cure. Again, don't light cure before cementations. Here showing the after photo with a restoration seated. Here is a study that was done by Dr. Pascal Manet in 2007. It showed that IDS does have significant advantage, both with OptiBond FL and Clearfield SE bond over the DDS, delayed dentin bonding. For our CERA user, we do single visit dentistry. You may ask, how immediate is considered immediate? Immediate is right after the tooth was prepped. But if we cement at the same appointment like 45 minutes for EMAX or 20 to 25 minutes for hybrid block after IDS apply, do we need to reactivate the bonding surface? As far as I know, there is no study or paper that show how immediate is immediate or how delayed is delayed. I think if you do not want to Kojak the prep, at least you should pumice powder polish the prep before cementations. We all talk about MPa, megapascal, but do we really know how strong is that, say 300 MPa from the EMAX or 60 MPa from the IDS? 60 MPa equal to 611 kilogram per square centimeters, or 8,700 pounds per square inch. That is very strong. OptiGlaze color is one of the most popular color glaze for hybrid and composite. It is light curable, can be used for CERA Smart, composite, PMMA, temporary crown and bridge, and even on the denture teeth. Keep in mind that not all dental LED light can cure the OptiGlaze color. OptiGlaze can only be cured with the wavelengths below 330 nanometers. You will need to check the wavelength range for your current curing light. If you have the all halogen light still in your storage, they will work for the OptiGlaze. I know the blue face style work since it's covered the 385 nanometer to 515 nanometers. Or GC has a curing light called the light. That is perfect for all our dental needs and can also cure the OptiGlaze color. OptiGlaze need 40-second LED light cure. The question I get most often when I post my hybrid case online is how long does the color glaze last since it is light curable? Here is showing the wear resistance of the OptiGlaze color. You can see even after 50,000 times brush wear, still maintaining its gloss very well. If you have used the OptiGlaze before, you may know how difficult to polish it off. And don't forget, if needed many years down the road, we can always recolor glaze intraorally. Just like everything in our mouth, maintenance needed. I always tell my patient that the crown or filling I put in the mouth will age with you, therefore maintenance is needed. Here's a quick video to demonstrate how to prepare the Cerasmart for color and glaze and how I quickly do the characterization with the optic glaze color. So this is a pre-op. And the prep was IDS. So the first step was to remove the screw with a green coarse wheel from Meisinger. And I enhanced the anatomy, use an inverted comb burr, deepen the groove, and then you polish with Meisinger green coarse spiral wheel with a circular motion. And then you sandblasting with 25 to 50 micron aluminum on both surfaces, the bonding, the intraocular surface and the outside surface. And then you steam clean it, or you can use ultrasonic with alcohol. And then you use a ceramic primer tube as a silent agent. And then you add a little bit chroma. The optic glaze color comes with A or B chroma, so you can add it to the cervical. And you also add it to the occlusal surface. And before you add a different color, you can light cure it to fix the color that you just added. And then I add a red-brown stain on the pit and groove. And you light cure it really quick. And then I add ivory white to the incisor edge and the ridge to enhance the 3D effect. And the good thing about it is, if you add it too much, you can actually wipe it off before you light cure it. And again, you can light cure it with the light, wavelength 405 for 40 seconds. and then you apply the optic glaze. And again, you light cure it. This is the final. Just before and after. So I have heard some dentists' opinion on using hybrid CAD/CAM block on full coverage crown. Is the hybrid block for the full coverage crown, hybrid block actually is an inferior choice. I don't agree with that opinion. Not sure what make them think hybrid are an inferior choice. The longevity, the durability, the margin fit, the aesthetic. I have shown you many cases during this webinar regarding the durability, the aesthetic, and the fit of the hybrid block, especially the CeraSmart. Here's the one last case I want to show you. Another hybrid on the lower anterior as a crown on the root canal treated tooth. The crown was done in January 2014. And this is a 5-year recall. Again, the crown holding up pretty well after 5 years. And I just applied light cure glaze intraorally, bring the crown back to brand new conditions. Me and the master, Dr. Pascal Marnet, my Cera MCSL was actually signed by Dr. Marnet, composite resin only. I want to use this photo to end today's webinar. I hope after today's webinar, if you have never used hybrid block or the new CeraSmart 270, you will give this block a chance to be among one of your CAD/CAM block armamentarium. You can start with inlay only first. If you have been using this hybrid block, I hope you feel more confidence while using this CeraSmart, especially the new 270, and are more comfortable using it for more application in your clinical theater. You can find me on Facebook. I create 2 Facebook groups called Bay Area CEREC and also Taiwan CEREC. Or you can email me at drten@pacificdentalcenter.com. Thank you again for joining today's webinar. Now we will have a Q&A sections. So I have a question about what is your technique for adding material to proximal contact? Which material and material you use? So I actually, if you need to add your proximal contact, you actually just use a burr to roughen the proximal contact area. You silent it, and then you can add any type of composite. But the best is use a GC Genio composite because they have the same technology to add to your proximal contact. I have a question about, can you compare the difference between Vocal Grandial and CeraSmart, and also the Iberclar Tetric CAD? The Vocal Grandial actually has higher feeder content at 86% by weight, versus CeraSmart 270 is only 77% by weight. And the original CeraSmart is at, the feeder is at 71%. The difference is Grandial cannot be etched by hydrofluoric acid. You have to use a sandblasting for the bonding. And the Iberclar Tetric CAD is an all composite block. And Iberclar Tetric CAD also cannot be etched with hydrofluoric acid. CeraSmart is the only material that you can either use hydrofluoric acid or sandblasted for bonding. I have a question about when a patient comes back for a recall and you want to freshen up a crown with glaze, do you charge that out, or if so, under what code? It all depends. I normally don't charge patient for that if I have the patients, because it's just a quick 1 minute or even less than a minute procedures. So a question about when you reglaze the CeraSmart, what is your protocol to retreat the surface before reglaze. Will you reglaze or repolish Sarah Smart now? Actually, you have both options though. The easier option is you can just simply polish the Sarah Smart, just as I show on the webinar. And you can use most of any diamond paste or composite paste to polish it. But the new BioShine Lucida paste is very easy to use. I have a question about with composite, placing anatomical groove and feature actually weaken the restoration. Is this the same for hybrid meal restoration? I don't think so. As long as you have enough thickness and you have done it carefully without creating too much heat, I think this is okay to add the microanatomy. So thank you again for joining today's webinar.